So, I hear you want to get tattooed, but you don't know where to go, or you're in a new area and you don't know how to shop around. You definitely want a dope tattoo, and you don't want to get scarred or messed up. I'm David Hamburg of Hamburging. Let's show you how to find the right shop, pick the right artist, and get that unforgettable tattoo that you want to show all your friends. So a little intro. I'm David Hamburg of Hamburg Inc. I've been tattooing for roughly 15 years. I love what I do. I get to meet unique people and talk to them and do these super dope designs. It's always rad meeting a new person. There could definitely be struggles meeting clients for the first time, right? Like the whole idea behind this video is to give you tips on how to have your experience be better, to make my experience a little better, right? The toughest part about having a new client, they're just not prepared. So let's show you 10 tips on how you can be more prepared, and then it'll help you pick the right shop and pick the right artist and give you a really good tattoo experience. So the first one is going to be style. How do you pick the right style? With so many different styles in the world, there definitely is option. Like you have the ability to pick very, very nice lettering, all the way to if you wanted some super fancy mayonnaise style lettering, right? There's constantly new things coming out. Walking into a local shop, asking any of those guys to do anything you want is just risking a bad tattoo. So I don't recommend doing that. By all means, walk into your local shop though. Find out what they do so that you're a little bit more educated on it. You don't know if you have a world-leading color realism guys sitting down the street. Picking your artist. A lot of people, when they look for artists, they look in their general area. They think that, oh, I'm just gonna find a local tattooer. They're artists, they know what they're doing. They should be able to pick and draw anything. Wrong. I'm 15 years in, my whole background is art. I don't do lettering. I literally don't study it. I can pull a relatively clean line, but that is not my forte, it's not my strength. I spent my whole life studying realism. I was the kid that stared at clouds, and I still draw clouds to this day. So when you're picking somebody that, let's say you want beautiful, soft apparatuses, you might want to talk to the people that know and love what they do. They're the ones that are going to make those details super picky. And a lot of people don't fly for that. My biggest recommendation is be picky about your artist. This shit is permanent work. You don't want bad work on you forever. Instead, you want to make the right decision. That's it. Don't be afraid to fly out to your artist. You know, do some research and find the person that speaks to your heart. The second part of this 10-part system is the healed work. A lot of people will see work online and think this is it. This is how their work heals. This is how it looks every day. This is it. Guys, there's Photoshop. There's programs of filters. Unfortunately, there's lying artists out there. And I personally have come across quite a few of my favorite artists using filters and Photoshop to enhance their photos, which is not what the healed work looks like in person. So that's another hard one, right? Like if you're flying out and you want to see their healed work, the easiest way to find this is actually at conventions. When you start going to conventions, you meet a bunch of artists that travel in from all around the world. You get to see their work in person, and sometimes, like I did, I brought my clients with me. So usually when I went to a convention, you got to see work that I had been putting on for years. You know, you get to see the progress, you get to see how it settles, you get to see the life of it. The healed work is the proof. It shows you what it looks like in person. It shows you if there's any damages, and then you get to meet the client. The client's gonna tell you if they're weird or if they're dope, if they took breaks or if they didn't and they just slammed you out the door and took a paycheck. That's very particular, and you may want to know the differences in those. Okay, so on to number 3, price shopping. This is probably one of the biggest things discussed in the tattoo world. How much is that gonna cost, and can I afford this? I come from a background of quality, and so I have learned throughout my years of tattooing that there are certain humans on this planet that absolutely believe in quality over anything. And I have put myself in that category and work towards that. So if you're shopping around for price, try to understand that you're going to get what you pay for. If you're pinching some pennies, that artist is probably also pinching some pennies. If you want the best of the best, you're gonna have to pay for it, which means you're gonna have to save up. Guys, this is permanent. By all means, I'm not fully tattooed yet either. So like, tattoos are expensive and I too like good work. Take your time, pick your artist wisely, and be patient. If you have to travel, it's not a big deal. If you have to save, save. In the long run, this is gonna mean the world. I can't tell you how much more important it is getting what you want than having to cover it up later, which I also do cover-ups. Location. So a lot of people will look for an artist and kind of stick to the locations local to them. I don't recommend this at all. I recommend that you do your diligent research, find the artist that speaks your volume, and you try and get in contact with them. Sometimes this takes months. Like I have clients that come out from the East Coast. I haven't had overseas clients in a while with the exception of Tommy. He travels to Japan and Korea. You don't want to just go to a local shop because that local shop might be just full of a bunch of new guys. Like when I first started out at a local shop. That local shop, we all did black and gray. We were all a bunch of cool guys. But I'm gonna be honest, we weren't the best of the best, right? We all studied very specific work, like Chicano style black and gray. And so if you're coming in for like, I don't know, a color portrait, I definitely wasn't capable of it at that time. And neither was anybody else at the shop. More than likely, if you lived in Whittier 10 years ago, you were traveling. Number 5, references. It is highly recommended you bring references. We as artists, we're creatives. Yeah, absolutely, we can create almost anything, but we don't know what's going on in your brain. We don't know what your fantasies are. We don't know what your ideas are. And we definitely don't know what you want your tattoo to look like until you tell us. So bring in some references, as many as you can. Sometimes it can be too many, but it's better to have more than none, right? Or more than less. Bring in notes of these references. Show us what you like about these particular things and what you don't like about these particular things. And then that leads us on to the next subject, which is suggestions from the artist. I have a little notepad right here. So the suggestions from the artist, most of us are capable of seeing things we like. That's kind of the algorithm, right? Like you know what you like it, now you want it tattooed on you. But maybe you don't know why. Try to hear the artist's suggestions. Maybe they're gonna tell you things like, oh, this would look better higher up on your arm. Maybe this tattoo would come out a little bit clearer if it were bigger. I've definitely made the mistake of letting my client control a tattoo and pick a small tattoo that I regretted. Now that didn't mean I did a bad tattoo, it's just I think it would come out better if it were bigger. And by all means, that's not the case with everything. Sometimes shrinking a tattoo to fit the space is actually better. Have I ever not been able to tattoo because the tattoo didn't make sense? Absolutely. I remember trying to put some angel wings on the back of the neck, and the shape and size, it didn't work. I recommended that we just didn't do it. And you can imagine, we planned for weeks to tattoo this and it didn't work out. So try to listen to your artists. They spend years in this. My whole life's dedicated to art. That may help both of us. Okay, on to the next one. Time expectation. It is highly recommended that you ask your tattooer, what's the high and low of this, right? What's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? If I'm getting 2 by 2 inch tattoo, are we banging this out in an hour? Are you new at this and this might take you 2 hours and maybe a touch-up sitting? The expectation is highly recommended. I'm a realism artist and I do large scale work. I absolutely want to see you here another day so that I can make sure that your work comes out perfect. Some people are absolutely more fragile in their skin, and so they're more prone to scarring and damage. That's going to require more time and touch-ups. Some people aren't as healthy and they take blood thinners and might be a little older. That also takes a little bit more time. We have to be understanding, guys. We see these videos on Ink Master and on TV, these guys whipping out tattoos and it looks like they take 30 minutes. Most of this stuff is 5 to 6 hours. And that's for like hand-sized tattoos, if you're good and seasoned. If you're a new person, man, I remember hand-sized portraits taking me 20 hours. It's a long long time. Number 8, deposit and retainers. Nowadays, it's pretty common that you have to pay a deposit or a retainer, but a retainer is basically holding the appointment. You may have to leave a retainer. It's absolutely normal to lock a date off and have your tattooer prepared for you. If you don't put a deposit retainer down, then you can highly expect that your tattooer just won't be prepared for you. I'm booked 2 to 3 months in advance. If you don't put a retainer down, I don't think you're serious. And on top of that, the retainer is non-refundable. This is to block the date off from other clients taking your day. You are essentially telling your tattoo artist that, hey, I want that day in your schedule and nobody else can have it. That tattoo artist for 3 months wasn't allowed to book anybody, tell anybody about that day, offer it as an availability. This is why your retainer is so particular. It tells you and your tattoo artist that I'm serious and I want this tattoo, and your tattooer knows, so he's gonna get up, get excited, and put some dope work on you that day. Down to number 9, we got 2 more. Shop policy. Where you get tattooed means a lot. I have definitely traveled to a couple shops. I've had a hard time at some of them. I remember going to a shop that wasn't up to my cleanliness. I'm a pretty clean person. I do have kids and animals, and so that's going to happen. But when it comes to tattooing, if it's not like a surgeon's environment, then you risk infection. And don't get me wrong, like clients leave the shop and they go outside and they could risk infection there. But while you're there in that working environment, the client should respect the shop and respect the artist. The shop should be clean, the artist should be clean, and both of them should respect each other. As an artist, you shouldn't abuse the place you work in. And then as the shop, in order for the shop to stay in business, the artists need to be there. It's a 2-part system. Man, this client is flying in. They waited months. And the least, keep your shop clean. As a client, look for those things. This is where you're getting needles poked into you. This person's supposed to know about hygiene and quality. Do your diligence. And then shop etiquettes, right? Ask, what are the shop etiquettes? Can I bring food in here? Am I allowed to bring drinks? Can I bring people? Can my kids come? Fuck no. No, 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 no. Don't bring your kids. If you are gonna be here for a long day, which is like all my clients, bring food, bring drinks, leave them in the fridge. My least favorite experiences are when people bring food and now I'm smelling all their food in my booth for 4 hours, and maybe I don't like the smell of fast food, or maybe the worst one. A guy just got done smoking and threw his cigarettes in my trash can. Holy cow, bro. You know when people ash out and then they're like, thank you for not tossing it, but instead you took it and you threw it in my trash, which is in my booth, and now we gotta breathe in cigarette ash smoke all day? Horrendous. Shop etiquettes. Ask. Don't fart in the shop, guys. Go into the bathroom. Number 10. This is to wrap it all up. So we talked about field work, we talked about styles, we talked about locations, we talked about bringing references. Now it comes down to your last and final question. Do you have any questions for the artist? Is there any concerns that you have? If this is new to you, by all means, ask away. Some of my favorite questions are, can I go to Disneyland after? Because we live in, Anaheim area. Like, I'm in Riverside, but Anaheim's only an hour away. Disneyland's usually very close for people. Can I go swimming afterwards? How long do I wear bandages for? What kind of aftercare do I do? Are there any recommendations you have for keeping this tattoo high quality for as long as possible? Are there any things that I shouldn't do? Yeah, don't fight your friends after a tattoo appointment. That's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. Greatly appreciate if you guys could like this video. And for those of you that are interested in learning more about tattoos or the process of it, or even have stories of my clients and why they're getting their tattoos, if you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna try and post out one of these every week. At the moment, it seems impossible because I'm new at this, but I have high expectations and I fucking love working. All right, guys, thank you for watching.